Hello, welcome once again to my channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at how opportunity cost can be represented on a graph. How a combination of goods can be produced by a country or a company given its resources. We're looking at this example today to be able to understand how we can represent this on a graph. This is Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia can produce two goods using its scarce resources. And these are the resources that Saudi Arabia has to produce two goods. They can produce either oil, which is produced in millions of barrels per day, or they can produce petrochemicals, which is produced in millions of tons per day. Now, what we should understand is that in order for Saudi to increase the production of one of these goods, it must decrease the other. This is what we call the opportunity cost. This is the sacrifice that Saudi has to make in order to increase the production of one good. Now, note that this graph is what we call the production possibility curve, or the production possibility frontier, or the production possibility boundary. It represents the combination of goods that a country can produce at a given time, given its resources. But, you know economics, ceteris paribus, everything being equal. This graph, or this combination, is only applicable with some assumptions. So let's look at the assumptions. The first assumption is that the resources that Saudi Arabia has are fixed. They cannot change within the time frame in which they are producing these two goods. And also we should know that these resources, they are not perfectly adaptable. What does that mean? It means the resources are more likely to produce more goods than the other. That is what we mean by they are not perfectly adaptable. Secondly, resources that are available are fully utilized, are fully used. There is no resources left again for them to use. They have used up all the resources. And thirdly, technology is fixed during this period of this production of these two goods. The technology that Saudi Arabia has cannot be increased during this period, cannot be improved. Lastly, only two goods are produced. We all know that there is no country in the world that can produce only two goods, but for this particular concept to be applicable, we are assuming that Saudi can produce only two goods, and that is oil and petrochemicals. Okay, we can see clearly that we have combinations here, combination A, B, C, D, and E. Now, at combination A, Saudi has decided to produce more petrochemicals than oil, and here more than, as Saudi keeps increasing the production of oil, they will have to forego, they will have to sacrifice some of the production of petrochemical. That is why you see that it is decreasing on this other side. Now, how can we represent this on a graph to come up with our production possibility curve or our production possibility frontier? One issue that students always make in exams, I've seen, is that they can just take the combinations as they are and just put it on the graph. This is wrong. Also, you should note that in drawing the production possibility curve, it doesn't matter. You can put oil on the x-axis and petrochemicals on the y-axis, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. It will still be the same. Now, we are putting oil on this axis, so it's in millions of barrels. And we can put petrochemical on this axis. Let's say this is petrochemical on this axis, and it is also in millions of tons. Now, if you look at the combinations there, you can see that for oil, it is an even distribution. We have 2, we have 4, we have 6, we have 8, and then we have 10 millions of barrels. So it is easy to place this on the graph, very easy. Now, on petrochemicals, you consider it is 0, 3, 6, 8, 10. Please, don't do this if you are taking an exams. It is wrong. You must make your intervals to be even. You must have equal intervals, because if you do not do that, the data you are trying to represent on the graph will be misleading. You'll be giving wrong information out, which people who need this data or statistics will read wrongly. So, the same way, you consider this to be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 on this side, so that you have equal intervals. So you can have equal intervals on your graph. If you decide that 1 centimeter, when you are drawing your graph, 1 centimeter represents 2 millions of barrels, then it should represent 2 millions of barrels throughout. You can't take 1 centimeter to represent 2 million barrels at one point, and then at another point you take 2 centimeter or 4 centimeter to represent the same 1 barrel. That will be misleading. Now, let's try to plot our graph. We can see in combination A, when oil is at 2 million, we have petrochemical at 10. So you simply take a straight line where you have 10, and then you plot your first point there. Your second point is combination B. In combination B, we have oil that is produced is 4 million barrels. So you take 4 million barrels, and then what is petrochemicals? 8 million barrels. So you plot it here. And then the next combination is combination C, which is 6 barrels. And at 6 barrels, we have petrochemical also at 6 barrels. And then at combination D, we have 8 barrels of oil at this point. And then we have 3 million tons of petrochemicals. Now, this is where the trick is. You can see that this is 2, this is 4, there is no 3. So 3 would be in between 2 and 4. So you take 3 at this point and take it to where you have 8 to plot your point. And then the last one, this is 0. Yeah, take note. So when we have 10 million barrels of oil per day, which is here, we have 0 million tons of petrol. So it is here, so you plot it on the line. Now you join your points. And this is what you call the PPC, the production possibilities curve or frontier. Now, you should also understand that whenever you are on the production possibility curve, It signifies efficient production. Efficient production. It implies that Saudi Arabia has utilized all of its resources fully. That is why they say resources are fully used. It has utilized its resources fully. That is why we say it is on efficient production. But then, if there is any point inside the production possibility curve, for example, Saudi decides to produce 4 million barrels of oil and 3 million tons of petrochemical, then it will be inside the production possibility curve. In this case, this is what we call misallocation of resources, underemployment of resources, or underutilization of resources. This means this country, this economy, does not utilize its resources fully. Now, there is a point that is possible it can be out of the production possibility curve. Out of the production possibility curve. This point is always what we call impossible point. The impossible point. But it is only impossible with the given resources that Saudi Arabia has at the moment. When is it possible for the economy to produce at this point? It is possible for this economy to produce at this point when there is what? Economic growth. That is the only reason that can make it possible for this country or this economy to produce at this point. That is it that you need to know about plotting the production possibility curve. Now, this is not very accurate. In a graph, it is more accurate when you draw it on a graph. And you can clearly see your point where you drew it, where you do it or you draw it on a graph, you can see that it is more accurate. Thank you guys. In our next video, we are going to look at comparative advantage and how we can equally calculate opportunity cost in this case. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends so they can also learn when a new video is uploaded. Thank you.